Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and whatever else is watching. My name is Nick, and we are, well, watching this time Dragon Quest Builders 2. Yes, at this moment I am not actually playing, as this is done post-commentary. I just wanted to do one of these episodes where I talk over when I actually was doing some building around the town. Doing some, well, changing things up to my liking, which is not actually progressing the story for a little bit. Well, first up, I actually wanted to change the irrigation station. Clean that up, because hey, clean water starts also with a clean basin. Okay, I know there's still muddy water at the top and the water won't change, but I thought, hey, let's start with just removing the spoiled soil, turning the bottom into regular earth, and, well, the basin itself, the edges, the walls, let's turn that into wood. And I'm using the floorboard for that. Another thing why I wanted to do this is because these moments when I can just build things to my liking, that I don't have to follow the story because I know what is already happening in the story, are also a little bit of moments for myself as some introspection, or a little bit moments to, well, get a little bit, calm myself a little bit, because it's kind of nervous for, I'm still kind of nervous trying to talk to you guys like this, and I find just building stuff, making things pretty, making it look like it's also, yeah, looking good, is also something that I can do just to calm myself, to, well, it's something just to relax. Yeah, as you noticed, I plopped down a scarecrow, and even after I removed the scarecrow, Wrigley will still continue to change or clean up the soil. So once plopped down and Wrigley is started, he will not stop. But at this moment I am just terraforming, just making the landscape looking like how I wanted it to look. And that means, well, making the moat around the deer tree even. Yes, it's gonna be a moat. Eventually it will be filled with water. And that's also why I am actually already, how do I say it? Changing the floor to well, clean earth and all that kind of stuff. And, well, now I pretty much guessed, hey, I can already go and build myself the elevations that I like to have and don't like to have. I can lower the earth in certain places, or level it, or raise it. But maybe it's better I clean up first. And oh yeah, this is because in the next episode we will be doing a mission that requires us to build a specific room here. So instead, oh yeah, you guys are coming around again. So instead of changing that room and cleaning things up during the episode, I thought, hey, why not do it right now? Just build the walls already and the floor, and, well, I will have it ready then for when the mission comes swirling around, that I actually have to build something over here. So that's why I'm actually changing this up, and you will also see me building a wall around here afterwards. And after that, I will continue cleaning up the town, breaking down those wither trees, all those field poles. I will break down. I will get rid of all the dry grass, the stones that are in the way. There is a very big mountain to the left of this area that I will definitely clean up, but not level. Also around where that umber area, this mountain that I cannot remove myself. There's a side on the side is also a lot of spoiled soil. I will lower that a little bit, so I can have some things over there. Another thing why I actually wanted to talk during this episode for a little bit, do a little bit like this, because it also frees me up, or it gives me some room, some space to talk about some other stuff that I also want to talk about, that I didn't get to articulate properly. Oh yeah, this is where I'm gonna level this entire get a few layers of spoiled soil off of here. But yeah, I wanted to talk about some things that I couldn't really articulate very well in the past. Either because the game throws so much at you all at once, there's so much to explain at this moment, that, well, I just need these quieter moments just so I can do some catching up. And one of those things is that I actually want to talk about right now is, well, I already talked about it once, and that was the original demo. And I said that I didn't like that demo at that moment, and that I can understand why it turned people off back then. But what I didn't do was talk about why that is exactly. Most of the things I at least not articulated very well, in my opinion. Most of the things I think about that original part, the tutorial section, is because it is very slow. It tries to explain to you in very minute and very slow steps that either could have been combined in just one larger tutorial, or could have they should have just left it out. Let's just start with the ship. Some things were redundant. For example, you had this mission to talk to those Children of Argon monsters about why we are on the ship. Well, we are imprisoned by the monsters. There shouldn't have been much more of a reason for that. Maybe they don't like builders, but that is something that could have come through all the other missions, the other dialogue. But the explanation of, hey, Malroth had been defeated, Hargon had been defeated by the Scions of Erdrick, and all that kind of stuff, we had seen that already about, well, 2 to 3 minutes before that. Well, maybe it was a little bit longer, but it wasn't that much longer before it, because it was the opening cutscene pretty much of the game. And it already explained, hey, Hargon was defeated, the Scions of Erdrick, blah 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 blah, and they are now scattered to the winds. So having that being said again, because you had to learn about talking to people, and I can tell you, you had to talk to the captain in order to learn to talk to the captain. Well, that just seemed to me like it was really redundant. It just really felt out of place. Oh yeah, trying to work here is a little bit tough because these mollusks kept attacking. So I do get hit sometimes. But to continue on about the demo, I think that mission could have been done without it actually. That you could have they could have skipped that and thus made the ship section a little shorter. Another mission that he could have removed was the combat tutorial. You had this combat tutorial against one of the skeletons where you first have to punch him and then you create a weapon in order to, well, to teach you how to fight with a weapon and how a weapon does a lot more damage than just punching things. And to be honest, I find that a little bit self-evident. They did not need to do that, because throughout the entire game there is one potential moment that you have to beat someone without a weapon, so with your bare fists. However, even that potential moment is undone by a weapon that you can earn, or by something else that you can use for attacking. And so actually throughout the entire game you won't be fighting with any fists. So yeah, that weapons are better is one thing. It would have been much better to show, hey, when you invent new weapons, they are actually much stronger. So in my opinion, not doing that battle mission would have been better. Just leave it out and no one is any wiser on, hey, what is or shouldn't have been in there, and you can make it go a little bit faster. And then you have the mission where they teach you how to use the glove, where you had to use the barrel. That mission would have been a lot better if they actually had something where you could fully explain how the glove worked. For example, in this mission you just pick things up and you put things down again. Nice, but the biggest advantage of the glove is that you can pick things up, rotate it above your head so you don't actually have to squirm yourself in awkward positions, and then put it down again. If they had something like that, if they had something that you would do that tutorial would, that you had to rotate stuff around, that tutorial would have been so much better. That tutorial would have actually had some value. Because afterwards, when you are on the beach, you again have to pick blocks up. You again have to put them in the right position. And again, also in the beach area, you have to go into combat. And yeah, this time it's in combat with Malroth along with you, just to show you how much damage Malroth deals. So yeah, to be honest, until for most of the game, you actually will have Malroth with you to do all this to do along with your combat. So again, it is kind of pointless to show it off at that point how much stronger you are with Melroth along with you, because it doesn't add any value to have a separate tutorial for fighting yourself and a separate tutorial for fighting with Melroth. If you just had asked me, you could have just done the battle, the weapon building, and for yourself and for Melroth before, or actually when we were on Melroth and he noticed those enemies. That would have been a much better, because you also would have had to fight slimes in order to get oil, if you wanted some additional oil at least. And that would have just made things a little bit more streamlined. Again, also something that would have also made things better would be if you had how do I put it better? How do I properly put this? If you had to do something more with on the Isle of Awakening. It's not so much that the Isle of Awakening section itself was really bad. It's more like they could have done something, because one of the reasons that I really like Furrowfield here as a much better tutorial and a much better demonstration of what this game is all about is because you're actually working towards something bigger. You're working towards building a town. That making a single room would actually be just the first step into things. Making that irrigation station blueprint would have been the first step into something bigger. However, building the top of the temple, building that one survival room for Lulu, that were just one-off things that really failed to, how do we put it? It failed to really illustrate what the game was about. If they made something like, hey, at the beginning of the island, if you are there, lengthen actually that part by having you build a starting town over there. Having a little bit more survivors from the ship that survived the shipwreck. Yeah, you can have a few casualties, but having a few more, two more survivors, let's leave it at that, and you have another two on the ship, then yeah, that would have been a start of a town that you would have had to build, for example. Oh yeah, just a little bit in between. You can see underneath, now that I'm removing the top layer of the field that we already had, you can see that the earth underneath that or the spoiled soil that was originally underneath earth, clean earth, did not get turned into clean earth, while the rest that was underneath spoiled soil was actually cleaned. So yeah, that is a specific thing from Wrigley that you can see here that will happen. He will only clean a column when the top part is also clean or is spoiled soil. He will not clean it if the bottom the top part is something else, or earth is also one of the things. But to come back to the demo, I would have changed that you would make a harbor town over there. That even the harbor where Brownbeard would have been moored to, landed his ship, or docked his ship, that you needed to build that would have been a blueprint. That, for example, at the beginning, when you are there, you hear a Brownbeard arriving and say, hey, can you I'm lost a bit, can you build me something so I can come ashore? And that you then have to build the harbor out of old remains of many crashed ships, not just the one with the few things that we already had. And that you would also make some rooms, additional rooms in this harbor town from the remains of that ship. You don't need to have the hammer, although it would make it more easier. But if you were to just have a lot of crash ships that have some furniture or even blocks that you could use to make rooms, that would have been so beneficial. That would have been so much better, because you were actually working to something bigger. You were establishing a town as it is on that for the castaways that got lost at sea, making a livable habitat over there. And then you could also have said, hey, let's explore, and we don't find anything, and eventually end up with the hairy hermit. Instead, they chose this route, which felt really sluggish. All while here in Furrowfield, I haven't been able to keep up with all the new things that are introduced here. Having to explain all of that. Most of them are just like prompts that just say, hey, now you have this new thing. Up, it's you have to deal with it. That is most of the things here in Furrowfield. And that is what makes Furrowfield so great as a tutorial section. You just get rapid fire new things. You're learning all the time. You're learning every step of the way. And you have a fantastic story that comes along with it. A fantastic story that also shows, hey, this game is not just about rebuilding towns or building a land. This is also about one grandiose adventure, and Furrowfield shows that. And that's what makes Furrowfield so fantastic. Really, I cannot recommend. Play the Jumbo demo if you haven't done, if you're still doubting it. Because it actually goes into this part. And it is so much more fun. And it's such a great game here. So yeah, that was a little bit the thing that I wanted to say about the demo. They could have handled that a little bit better. Also just the beginning section, they could have handled that a little bit better. Lulu though, I know she will have her moments in this game that are really beautiful and really touching. But unfortunately, her insistence with a joke of Lulutopia is just driving me nuts. It just is overdone. And I am a person that can deal with repetition. Because, to be honest, one of my favorite Zelda games is Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. And that game is notorious for being repetitive. if you hear the criticisms about it, quite often what comes up is that it is being repetitive, that it is really repetitive for everyone to play. And I enjoy that game. However, the repetition with Lulu and her Lulutopia gag, that is just, no, it goes way too far. It's just mind-numbing, and that's why I don't really like Lulu very much as a character. It's just, she's really bossy, and she is how do I put it, greedy and all that, but they drive it a little bit too much. Melroth has the same thing with his Empire of Evisceration. However, it is done in much less of a way. It is done much less in, how do I put it, a frustrating aspect. Oh yeah, you probably are wondering, why am I walking around with this scarecrow? Well, for one, it is a very good way to turn spoiled soil into, well, clean earth. And I do want to have my fields that I'm gonna build for all the crops that we are going to have in this particular area. And I'm kind of measuring out how big fields are and where I need to put them, and also because I want to work with the different elevations, and then also see, okay, here I need to have a border for when I start a new field or something, so I can drop a little or have to go higher and all that kind of stuff. The reason why I place my fields here is very simple. The monsters, they came from that, well, you already have seen where the monsters are coming, the monster waves. And they will have to go to this corner, and the mountain range will be in the way. And that will make it a little bit harder for them to reach my fields. And also, this part has enough space for all the fields that the game is going to require from us. And that is just a lot of fun. The rest of the town I will be using to create buildings and to create other stuff that also are part of a farm and a village. So yeah, that's why I'm doing that already here. And because I am actually putting my fields around here, it isn't really bad to already turn everything in earth. Because you will also see that I'm gonna do a lot more with it later. And yeah, that's why I'm gonna do this here. There is somewhat, I think, well, in preparation, but I can do this preparation as well, because I have already a clear vision of what I want to do with this place, how I want to shape it, what is going to come. However, if you have never played this game before, I would suggest you don't do this. You just continue on with your story and build whatever is necessary, because the story is one big tutorial, actually. One very huge educational tool for, well, whatever the game will throw at you. But mostly, when you follow the story, when you bring in new, when you ring the bell more often, you get new recipes. Also, things will become more available to you, and therefore you have more things to do. And this makes it also much easier for you later to actually shape the town the way you want it to. To shape the town in a manner that you like. And you don't have to break down the town once you, well, find out, hey, I got something new. I already know what is coming. So my suggestion is just go do the story. Don't worry about all this building just yet too much. Just enjoy the building that the villagers ask from you. And once Furrowfield chapter is over, once you're done here, then you can shape Furrowfield as much as you like. Because that is one quality of life improvement that this game offers over the first game. You can come back here. And you can come back here with infinite supplies. You can shape the entire island to your imagination. And that's so cool! You don't only have the Isle of Awakening, or as it was in the first game, Terra Incognita. No, you actually have... I could have gone... If this were the first game, in this style, I could go back to Kentlin. I could go back to all those islands that you had to go through to teleportals. And just level them and build them all the way from the ground up. Like I would imagine. What my imagination would bring. And that is so cool about this game. That is so fantastic that this game just allows this. Yeah, you probably are wondering why am I leveling this so high? Because I actually really like putting one of the rooms that I already have in my mind on top of that. Just having one room that towers above all others. Yeah, that's just one fun idea I have that I do want to do in here. And therefore I am actually leaving this entire building up here. Also what I could do, but I will not do, I won't do, I could also dig underneath. If you're wondering why this setup looks a little bit unnatural, because it has such a sharp edge. Again, this is me preparing for the future, because I am going to put something there at a much later date. A whole lot later date. There, it's actually after the chapter is done, so don't expect me that it will make sense during the chapter. Because yeah, I actually intend to come back here after I'm done with it. Ooh, I'm starving again. And that's why I also started to do some more harvesting. And well, that harvesting also led me to some new knowledge about things, which I will explain in the next episode, because maybe someone doesn't actually like this kind of videos where I'm just building randomly or just building stuff and not making any progress with the story. And yeah, so they might not be watching or anything. So that's why I will leave that to the next episode. Also, one thing, during this building session, I had also my butt clenched because of Bonanzo. Bonanzo often can come near me, and that's especially when you go to sleep. And because you have to interact with things the same way as you talk to people, it is really simple to trigger that next mission and to trigger continuing the story. And that is something I did not want to do because, again, like I said, I want to leave that up to the next episode. I want to leave that up for, well, when I am going to tackle whatever is that's over there that he has for us. But that does make it a little bit more difficult to, well, go around him. And it also makes it a little bit more tricky. When I would have played on my own, I would have just not bothered, and when I would talk to him, yeah, well, then I would have talked to him and started that mission, and probably also done other missions as well, while I would still be reshaping the landscape of the town, of the base. And I'm outside the base, and that's why the mollusks are again attacking me. So, yeah. That's gonna happen a lot. What am I doing here? Oh yeah, I wanted to fill up those final areas, but I am kind of running out of spoiled soil, and I didn't really want to go to the outside base and try to mine for some more spoiled soil out there. I have been able to nip about in the near vicinity, just as you saw right here, but I didn't want to make a very big hole in the mountain or the hilly side that you see in the background over there, because that would also really look unnatural. While here, if it looks unnatural, it's not such a bad thing, because it is actually a town that is manufactured. So instead of keeping this at such a high level, I decided, you know what, I can drop it here a little bit off as well. I can make this a little bit lower, and then, well, this line again is the boundary to my base. And so this is where I just thought, okay, here I just go a little bit lower. Even though, well, the deer tree is still what higher, and I did want originally planned to have this part, this area, this corner of the map at the same level as the deer tree. But I kind of ran out of blocks, if I have to admit. So I decided, hey, let's lower this a little bit. Maybe that's fine as well. It's not like maybe I can make something off of it. And otherwise I probably will find some more spoiled soil that I will obtain later in this chapter, later in the game. And thus, yeah, it's also going to be, how do I say it, help me a lot more to, oh yeah, I'm trying to make a little bit naturally looking corner like that instead of having a real sharp turn. But yeah, as you will see, I'm not doing a great job of that one. And that's because with the spoiled soil I still have left. And then I remember, oh wait, I have another corner that I needed to fill up, and I wanted that to fill up even higher than we are right now. Yeah, this one I actually wanted to fill up tree high, even above the vegetables that we are at this moment, above the farm fields that we are going to do here. So yeah, I did decide to draw it back a little bit so I can oh yeah, those things would never have changed if I didn't do that. And you probably are wondering, why am I doing that for a single block? Well, it's not a single block, that second thing with Wrigley. It's actually 3 blocks stacked on top of each other, because that's how deep Wrigley actually cleans the soil. Although now that I am noticing my active item bar, really? I'm still inside the town. Couldn't you guys bother someone else? Or bother me when I'm actually outside town? I could have also used, well, changed those 3 blocks on top of each other. Just as easy with the already earth that I have at this moment. Yeah, I was still debating if I would go move that elevated area a little bit more to the corner. I decided to go against it. Decided not to do it. So that's why you often see me also picking up stuff and then putting things down. Oh yeah, I moved my workbench over there in order to make some space for a later project that I'm going to have over there. And this is when I remember, hey, I have an anvil in my bag. Let's keep it in the bag. And I promptly forget again that I have an anvil in my bag, as you will see in the next episode. Because, oh man. Yeah, I still have a weapon for Melroth to make. I have a stone axe unlocked. And that weapon is still not built yet. Really, he could, how do I say it? He could have already had a better weapon. But I'm not gonna build that in this episode, because building a better weapon at this moment also comes with a little bit of story. And like I said, I'm not gonna do any story stuff, just some building in this episode. Again, measuring, always being measuring. And that's because that's something I will always do with something like a scarecrow. At the moment the scarecrow is the better measuring stick, just to show me how big something is, and I made that a little bit too big. I'm trying to figure out how big I need to make the fields. And I didn't notice that I put the blocks outside the field. Well, I will learn about that when I start counting though, actually counting. Because there, yes, I will count it again all the way. That's 9 blocks I have. Because one of the things I wanted to do, yeah, I learned here. Hey, I put those in the wrong position. One of the things that I want to do is actually create a ditch around my fields. And that's why I'm kind of measuring where the fields are going to be and how it's going to pop up and everything. Because you will notice later on that I am going to, well, dig around in those areas. Wait, what? What? What's it? Oh, yeah. That's that. Well, first up, I'm just digging around here. Because one of the things that you can make it easier for the NPCs is to have an automatic watering system. Like having some water going around. It could be more efficient, but I just want to dig it around the fields as they are at this moment. Just around it. For the rest, just leave the fields in their entirety as the squares as they are. And that would also mean that the characters still will have to water manually. And that's not a bad thing. Because if they have to water crops, yes, it will grow a little bit slower, the crops. And I forgot to dig a trench over here. Am I remembering that now? But I forgot to dig a trench around this second field here. Ah, man. I can't believe I did that. That's such a dumbass. I've been calculating how those two fields would, well, be positioned. And then I forget to do the two fields. Just the one. Oh, I'm such a dumbass. I am such a dumbass. Yeah, I'm putting this one already down because this is also where I want to plant my wheat seeds. And the field that I'm looking at right now is where I'm going to put the cabbages. Yeah, you might think, oh yeah, I'm skipping around here because before, in between, I built these rooms over here. I just noticed that I forgot to dig the trench. But I built these rooms, and they are more for the next episode as an explainer. However, these rooms will not remain. You will see in the next episode what they will serve to, but yeah, for now, let's just see, hey, these rooms will have their purpose for a little bit. But not much later, longer. But that also means I am nearing the end of this episode. I would like to know if you like me to do more of these things, because this game is all about building. This game is all about creating a beautiful world to your own imagination, to what you like. That's what this game is all about. And that's also what I'm trying to do here. And that would also mean that, well, on occasion I will just do some building because it relaxes me. Do some building because, and not progressing the story or anything. But let me know what you think of this. If this is something you actually like to see, if this is something you do. Because in the previous episode, of in the Dragon Quest Builders 1, I only did a clip show at the beginning of each episode after I spent an hour or two changing the town all up and everything. But this time I just wanted to show the process as well, because it is creating the town, putting things down, breaking things up, placing them in other places, all that kind of stuff. It also belongs to, well, with the game. And I hope you guys can enjoy this. So leave a like behind if you liked this episode, leave a dislike behind if you didn't. And I hope to see you again in the next episode. Bye!